Was there a chemical weapons attack in Douma, Syria? Hi, thanks for watching. Today is Friday, Fact Check Friday, and I'm going to do something a little bit differently today. Normally, when I fact check something, it's pretty easy. You actually read the entire article and it becomes clear what is true and what isn't true. But today, I'm going to look at this story from a year ago about the chemical weapons attack in Douma, Syria. Now, here's what went down. 7th of April, 2018, supposedly there was a chemical weapons attack in the city of Douma in Syria. Now, there were regular attacks in the city, but there's the claim that on the 7th of April that there was a chemical weapons attack as well. At the time, Syria and Russia stated that the attack did not happen and the video evidence for it was staged by British intelligence. So that happened. And a week later, on the 14th of April, the United States, the UK, and France bombed the crap out of the country. Now, this was the justification for those bombings. And recently, there's been some new information about that attack. I want to go through it. So the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the OPCW, is the one that investigates this and puts out the information. They went on a fact-finding mission to find out exactly what happened in this attack. And their report came out earlier this year, which suggested that there were 2 cylindrical bombs that contained chlorine gas that happened on that day. And what's really interesting is there was also an engineering report from that same group that was leaked last week. The organization has claimed that this is a real report. Their response to this engineering report being leaked is that they're going to get to the bottom and find out who leaked it. Okay? Now, first, the initial claim that the OPCW had was based on the testimony of witnesses and calculations and all that reporting. They found that there were reasonable grounds that this attack may have occurred. They're not stating that it did occur. They're not stating that it's overwhelming evidence. They say that it's a reasonable ground that this attack occurred. Okay, not very strong. But when we go through and look at this leaked engineer's report, it talks specifically about these 2 cylinders, and it has the introduction. They talk about the different locations. They describe the approach that they had for their study. They have their hypothesis. Basically, this is what we think happened, and we're going to try to prove that it's true. They have alternative hypotheses. These are other things that could happen that could explain this. And they go through their methodology, how they tested all of this. They also go through the different locations and what they did at each location. They talk about their findings for each location, what they found out based on their testing, and they came to a conclusion. In summary, observations at the scene of the 2 locations, together with subsequent analysis, suggest there's a higher probability that both cylinders were manually placed at those 2 locations rather than being delivered by aircraft. Well, that is quite a conclusion to have. And the fact that that is the exact opposite, right, of what the OPCW published. It's really stunning. Now, here's the thing. When these leaks come out, you, on the internet, can actually read the source material for yourself. You can go through it and read it. See if it seems reasonable to you. What the mainstream media seems to do is they summarize it for you, and they tell you their opinion on it, but they don't encourage you to check it out. I would say if this story interests you at all, a quick search, you can find this PDF file and read it for yourself.
Also interesting is, remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learn about this, you're learning from us.
I think it's really exciting when you can read the source material. And in this case, you can read the source material of the engineering report for the OPCW, and it states quite clearly that they found that these cylinders were placed there by hand, not delivered from a helicopter. Now, it's always interesting when there's something controversial like this and you look at Wikipedia, because Wikipedia, there will be all kinds of internal fights about what is going to be on the Wikipedia page. In this one, you click on revision history. So someone tried to change the page to point out some of these inconsistencies, and it was deleted. And the editor said, the New York Times have an established reputation. Ted Postal and others don't have a credible reputation except among the gullible. Right? That's what they said to keep out some of this information. Ted Postal is a MIT, I think a literal rocket scientist. He gave his opinion on this, and apparently that's not good enough for Wikipedia. They instead go with the New York Times. Now, speaking of the New York Times, earlier this year, they put out a total propaganda piece where they have VR and computer animation to show how these bombs went through the ceiling of the building. And you can check that out. But what you won't find on the New York Times, for the past week, this leaked memo has been out. There's not one mention of it at all in the paper of record. You can search the New York Times, you will not find this information, which kind of tells you all you need to know. Now, the only mainstream media that I could find that mentioned this was Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
The OPCW is the world's top chemical weapons watchdog. In a leaked internal document, an investigator with that organization argued that the evidence from Douma does not indicate an aerial attack. Instead, he argued, the chemical weapons were manually placed on the ground. That suggests the attack may not have been a government operation after all.
I mean, this is a significant and very important development we've got to take seriously.
Shocking that Fox News would be the source of putting out this information that goes against the mainstream pro-war narrative. But as it is Fact Check Friday, I need to make a conclusion. And can I say that the chlorine gas attack in Douma, Syria, occurred on the 7th of April, 2018? I just don't have enough information. I just don't know. And I can't rule with certainty about whether the attack happened or it didn't happen. But the real question is, why is the media keeping the story from you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Peace.